I think I know why EA didn't come out with all kinds of crazy marketing around Need for Speed Unbound, which they kind of dropped at the beginning of December. I have been playing it non-stop since it came out, though. A little too much. I've become way too obsessed with it. But I think why EA didn't go all guns blazing with the marketing for this great game is that it's just not as good as Forza Horizon. And I think that EA has been getting beat up a little bit. The Battlefield series isn't as good as Call of Duty. And here we are with the Paramount racing experience, the brand that brought in so many millions of players and billions, probably billions of dollars with Need for Speed. It's just not quite up to the caliber that Forza Horizon 4 or 5 have been. And so the question is, if you already love Forza Horizon or if you like lots of other arcade racing games, should you pay any attention to Need for Speed Unbound? And the answer is unquestionably yes. This game is so much freaking fun to play, and I think it's going to be one of these arcade racing games that people recall and remember in much the same fond way that we remember games like Split Second or Blur or previous high watermarks for the Need for Speed franchise, certainly like games like Hot Pursuit. This is a crazy enjoyable experience to play. They've done something with the visual kind of polish on the game. They add some animation flourishes, which remind me a little bit of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movies, where it just feels incongruous with the kind of photoreal quality of the visuals that you see, the cityscapes and all of the other cars racing around. It's all licensed vehicles, by the way, and you can tune them and you can tweak them, but the characters are animated like they're out of a cartoon. They've got cel shading around them. I love that visual style, by the way, and the cars also have all of these cool embellishments, and you can choose to customize them in a variety of different ways. You can also turn all that stuff off if you want, but you're going to be locked into animated characters. There's a story mode in the campaign as well, and these different kinds of street racing attitudes and ideas and caricatures and some tropes that we've seen, you know, in the Fast movies and all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of that stuff was kind of cemented by the Fast films and Need for Speed to begin with, so they're trying something a little bit different here by being a little more cartoony, but there's a lot of echoes to things that are familiar, including the heavy prevalence in the racing experience on using the nitro to get ahead. I mean, we've played that kind of thing before. You earn boost by drafting and by drifting and by turning corners or clipping through cars really quickly, so lots of close calls. And then there's also the ability to knock cars into oncoming traffic or obstacles along the way, and you also get chased by cops, which is a hallmark of the Need for Speed franchise. And all of it is quite freaking thrilling, I do have to say, and incredibly tuned on the sticks as well. The control for this game is just absolutely wonderful. So there is this addictive pull from the experience, and it's also a beautiful game production-wise as well. This is only on the new generation of consoles, Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 5, and of course you can play this on PC as well. And so you do require some serious horsepower and one of the new consoles to be able to play this game. And it shows, man. Runs at 4K 60 frames per second. It's blisteringly fast, and you've got a lot of draw distance detail to kind of look ahead to. And you need it because everything is just whipping by you so fast, and there's all of these animated embellishments on screen and, you know, turning signals and all the flourishes around your car and all of the traffic and all of the lights that you might see and the cop cars coming in from every direction. So you kind of need to be able to see far into the distance, and thankfully you can in this game. And there is a tangible physicality to everything when you bump and bash against all of the cars, whether it's traffic or some of the other racers that you're battling against or the cops that are battling against you. It feels very tactile. There is also, with all of the noise across this Chicago-like environment that Criterion has built for us, lots of obstacles and obstructions and things that will just organically get in your way, and so there will be many a cause for you to scream at the screen and be very upset with the game, because you'll be, you know, in first place in a race, and you're clipping and going past all kinds of corners, and you're whipping through the tunnels, and everything is going great, and then some guy in his white, Honda gets in your way, and kapoof, you're flying through the air, and there's the digital noise and stuff on screen, and you've just lost that race. So thankfully you've got restarts at your fingertips, so you can just press the start button and restart again, and you get more of them depending on the difficulty level that you choose. There isn't the ability to kind of roll back time like you get in the Forza Horizon games. There's also no fast travel in this game, and so you are going to be cruising around this city, which is absolutely beautifully crafted. Lots of water to either jump across or take bridges across. There's football fields, there's there's an amusement park, there's racing tracks, there's lots of cool areas in the downtown core, and then there's like suburban micro cities and lots of rural areas to bust through, lots to explore, billboards to bash through, little tiny bear sculptures to crash through, lots of street art to collect, which can then be employed in some of the expressions that you get within the character and car customizations. And then there's a whole online element in there as well, where you can play a bunch of playlists, and if you don't have the tier level vehicles, the game loans them to you, and of course you get your own bank of money, and you unlock cars in single player that you then have access to in online multiplayer, which is kind of cool as well. So it almost exists a little bit like Grand Theft Auto Online. It's Need for Speed Unbound Online, and then there's the Need for Speed Unbound story. So they're kind of separate in the same world, but there is a little bit of crossover in terms of unlocking stuff in the story that you can then use in the online play. This is also a challenging game AI-wise. The racers that you're going to battle against are actually very competent, and they're going to test your mettle. Maybe some of the story stuff in terms of chatter and dialogue is a little bit cheesy and dated and familiar with lots of these street racing experiences that we've had before, but I like the chatter as you're racing around. It's nice to hear the other racers challenge you and get angry at you, and one of them says, "Hey man, I spilt my drink." You know, there's a great sense of character when you're racing, which I appreciate. Same goes for the cops. They get incredibly angry. They're always swearing at you and they're saying you guys are crazy and they can't drive, and they're bashing everybody. There's also a lot of pedestrians on the street as well. You can't hit them, but it's pretty cool to see them walking around and screaming and jumping and getting out of the way at the last second. This game is fantastic. That's what I can say. I mean, this game is just so much fun to play. It's not as good as the best in the category, the best of the arcade racing experiences out there, but it's the most fun I have had in a racing game in 2022, and I would have put it into the Game Awards Best Racer category. They had a sports and racing category, and it's really disappointing that because it came out in December, it's going to be completely forgotten. Nobody's going to be talking about it. But God, it's a really solid racer. It's a great Need for Speed game. It's a ton of fun. It's beautiful, runs great, and I have been completely addicted to this thing. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been looking at this but thinking this one's not for me, I'd say take a second look, because it's pretty damn sweet. I'm going to give Need for Speed Unbound a 9 out of 10.